Hello and welcome to Cherry Street Chat, the official podcast of the Seattle Spectator. My name is Caleb Stipkovits. I'm the managing editor, and I'm also your host.
And I'm Claire Kampmeier. I'm the assistant program director of KXSU, which, for those who don't know, is Seattle University's student-run radio station.
Thanks for joining us, Claire. It's really nice to have you today. And then to our right here is our special guest. She is someone who has years of experience in the radio industry, on air in the Seattle area, working for KUOW and KNKX at iHeartRadio and even at Moving 92.5. And in her latest role, she is serving as the station manager of KXSU. So everybody, welcome Natalie Meléndez to the show.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being on the show. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm just really impressed by the setup in here. It's really cool.
Thank you. That means a lot to us. You know, we really.
Yeah, it's super cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. So, the first question we have for you today is, well, first of all, I have a feeling that both of you are going to be interested in today's topic. Might be right down your alleys, coming from KXSU, but we're going to be talking about music. So, first, Natalie, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. God, I'm trying to think. Well, I've been in radio for like 8 to 10 years now. Started in college. Always have been just a huge music nerd growing up and kind of led me into the right path of what I want to do as a career. I like to play music in my own time. I collect vinyl. I like to sing and play guitar. Go outside. Is that enough?
100%.
Okay.
Is guitar like the only instrument that you
Pretty
like
much.
to play? Or?
Yeah, well, not like to play. It's really the only one I know. I taught
see.
myself growing up because I couldn't afford, well, my family couldn't afford guitar lessons, so I just taught myself. So that's the one I'm pretty well versed on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think you talked a little bit about this, but we'd love to know kind of what drew you to work specifically in radio.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. So when I went to college, I went to Central Washington University, class of 2019, and I just wanted to find friends and get involved in music, and I heard they had an award-winning radio station, so I was like, that seems like a cool spot to be a part of, and was more just going to be a hobby. I didn't expect it to turn into a career. I went to school for communications, public relations, and advertising. So that's what I was planning on doing, and I was so stoked about that. But I kind of fell into it professionally once I graduated college and started working on the promotions team at Moving 92.5. This was shortly before the pandemic. And within a couple months, there was an opening on the station to host overnights. And they had heard I've done radio broadcasting in the past in college. And they were like, well, just show us what you got. And I showed them kind of what I had at the time. And lucky enough, they were interested and saw something in me. So they worked with me for a couple months to kind of get me ready to be like professionally on the air, and I did that for about 2 years, and thought that was going to be kind of the end of my radio career, but it's just kept going and going, so kind of like a beautiful accident, I would say. Yeah,
I see. And that kind of leads us to where you are now, and now you're the station manager at KXSU. So what kind of led you to getting to that position, and what are some of your goals for the station?
Yeah, well, I've had a good 5 years in radio broadcasting in Seattle. I've been on like a bunch of different stations and tried a ton of different formats. And it was just weird. I was kind of seeing what my next move would be after iHeartRadio, after being there for 2 years. And I was just looking around. I looked at universities to see where I could go, and I saw Seattle University was hiring for this job. And so I literally didn't think I was going to get it, even though I met like the minimum qualifications. I didn't have a master's. I didn't have any like experience with like counseling students. So I didn't think much of it. And then I just kept getting calls back to do interviews, and it's going into 7 months now of being here, which is crazy. So I just think like my love for college radio especially, and how much that shaped me, and just seeing kind of how I can get other people in the new generation excited about broadcasting made me excited and made me feel like it could be a job I could do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good, girl.
I'm sorry, my brain is...
You're good. I actually am interested because I'm going into school for broadcasting. So for me, like, that was something that was really nice, was having former professionals who had worked in the industry kind of teaching me and helping me kind of learn how to do things.
Yeah.
So for
yeah.
you, what have been some of the ways that you've been able to, help students who are interested in radio kind of shape their careers?
Well, it's kind of down to what they want to do. I mean, I never assume any student that comes into KXSU is going to be studying broadcasting or radio. So I just try to go off of kind of what I can see as their best qualities or stronger strengths, I guess, in specific realms, and just kind of work with them specifically on that. But it really is down to, if the student wants to grow more, like they know where to find me, and like we have, Claire's a really great resource for that too. So I try not to just expect that everybody's gonna want to study it, but just try to make it more of a creative hub. But those who do want to study and really explore that more, I'm always there to help them and give them connections that they need.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that also just only being in this role for about 7 months so far, like you've been able to sort of get your foot in the door with building those relationships. And so even though you haven't been like a mentor to radio yet, you're starting to build those connections and like help students find those places if they want to.
It's really cool because I remember, it really wasn't too long ago that I was a student and was learning all that. So I just try to remember what worked for me when I was a student and like what kind of eased my anxiety with some of the equipment, because it can be really daunting, and I'm sure you've worked, and it's just like, oh my god, a microphone in my face, what do I even say? And just kind of try to hold their hand, but also give them the space to do what they want as well.
I like that. I feel like that's really beneficial for, as you mentioned, having students that aren't necessarily always going to be interested in like doing that for a career, like, finding a way to help nurture and grow people no matter what they're interested in. I think that's awesome.
It's super cool. College radio rocks, y'all.
KXSU rocks.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I guess then, since, as I mentioned earlier, our subject that we're going to be talking about today is music, so I guess we can move into talking about music.
Let's do it. Sweet. I'm excited.
Well, so the Grammys are coming up.
They are. Do you guys know when they're happening?
No.
I think from the day that we're filming, so this won't be the day that it's airing. I believe it's 1 to 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
2 weeks from now. Producer says 2 weeks, so we have a little bit of time. But by the time this airs, we'll be 1 week. Producer got it wrong. It's I don't. You know what?
I think he might be confused, to be honest.
Yeah, he looks a little confused back there. But it's coming up. It's coming up.
Yeah, so, I gotta find a house that has cable.
Yeah. Well, so maybe we can just start talking about some of our favorite bands, and then we can go into the Grammys.
Yeah. Are you guys kind of what I'm listening to right now, or just kind of in general? Well. Sure. I don't know. I listen to a lot of different things all the time, depending on my mood. I can go anywhere from like reggaeton music to hip hop, indie. I've been really into Pink Floyd lately. Like, I don't know why. They have so many albums, to listen to. So I'm kind of just going down the whole line and just getting into the history of Pink Floyd too. There's a lot of history behind it, like with Syd Barrett and stuff, who was like their founding member of Pink Floyd. I'm kind of rambling. I apologize. I just get really excited when I talk about Pink Floyd. But also, I don't know, like a lot of people know him, but he plays Steve Harrington in Stranger Things. He has a music project called, his name's Dijon. He's releasing a new album in April, so I really like him a lot.
Yeah.
But definitely just a lot of Pink Floyd lately, and some Neil Young, Herb Albert, and the Tijuana Brass. Just a lot of what your grandparents listen to is like definitely what I've been listening to.
You've got a good variety, is what I'm hearing. So.
Thank you. Yeah. What about you guys?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm always listening to Camera Obscura. They've been my favorite band since high school.
That's cool.
And they just released a new album after I think it's 10 plus years since their last one in 2024. So that's been on repeat for an embarrassingly long time.
It went platinum in your car?
Yeah. In my car, in my house, my bedroom, my headphones.
Yeah.
But who else? That's a great question. Can you come back to me? I have to think.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I want to know what
Oh,
Caleb
boy.
listens
Yeah, what do you
to.
listen to?
I'm not gonna lie. Every time I get asked this question, I kind of blink because I'm
Mhm.
not sure how to. I mean, it's a hard question to
Yeah.
answer, you know,
It's
because
so
you're like,
hard to
well,
think
who do I listen
of.
to?
Like, let me pull up my
Oh
Spotify really
boy.
quick.
Okay. I also like to listen to a lot of different genres, different eras. I think. Let's see. Well, recently I've been listening to the new Kendrick Lamar album just because
Oh
it's
yeah,
pretty good. You know,
it's so
it's
good.
pretty good. I also like okay, if you like know Chinese music, like Mandarin music, you know who Teresa Tung is? She's like the goat of Mandarin.
Don't.
You have to check her out. She's
Ooh,
actually so good,
she's
and
the
I
goat.
cannot stop listening to her music. Like
Mhm.
That's
she's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
Do you
her
speak Mandarin?
I speak a little bit, but not really. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
her
just that
music's
good.
her music's really good. I don't
Yeah.
know
Mhm.
all the time exactly everything she's saying. I can pick up phrases, but you know, I would say yeah. So for me, it's just like I'll go through little
Mhm.
phases of who I like to listen to, but there's not
Yeah.
a set
Mhm.
artist I feel like that I'm always into.
I think that's like the cool thing about international music is the way that you don't have to understand the words. I always
Mhm.
just say music knows no boundaries.
Mm,
And I think even language wise, it's such a good case because, I mean, you can know a little bit or not know at all, but if you like it and it sounds good to you and in some way resonates to you, like, that's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
for
You know,
sure.
I think a lot of people don't want to listen to like music that they don't understand just because they don't understand it, which I can get, but I just think you're
Mhm.
really missing out on
Yeah,
a really great scene
right.
of music.
For sure. I mean, there's so many unique sounds like all over the world that it's just
Yeah.
like for me, I like listening to music in different languages because I'm like, this is like what's popular in different parts of the world, and like these
Yeah.
are the sounds that like, man, I wonder what this would sound like in English, or like I wonder, you know, like
I
that's what I always wonder. I'm like,
know.
would this work in English even? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've
So,
definitely like read like some Bad Bunny lyrics and just the
oh yeah,
translation, it just sounds so
yeah,
not good compared to it being in
right,
Spanish.
yeah,
It's so funny to go on Genius and do like a translate
for
and just be like,
sure.
this is what they're
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay.
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess moving on, I mean, this is kind of tying into your radio experience, but how
Yeah.
does a radio host choose what to play on air? And maybe Claire, you can also answer this working for KXSU, but how do
Yeah.
you choose what songs? Do you have playlists? Do you have just go with the flow or?
Great question. I think a lot of people don't realize kind of like the depending on the station you are and the format that they are is kind of what is going to play. Like when I worked at Movin' 92.5, that's a commercial station and it's top 40. So
Yeah.
I didn't get to choose it. We didn't get to choose it, unfortunately. So it's just a lot of like Harry Styles, like back in 2020, like,
Mhm.
you know, what was it? BTS. BTS was huge back then and
Mm.
still is. Um, so I think for depending on the format, it's really depends. You know, you don't really get to choose. Like if you're at a rock station, you wouldn't play like I don't know Bruno Mars on like a rock station.
Right.
But for college, I mean, for me, like it just catered to what I was interested. In college, I hosted a hip hop show called In the Flow. It was like a show I hosted set like 5 days a week, and it was so cool. And I just picked what hip hop music I was really liking, and it was a mix of just what was released last week or back in like the 90s. And it just depends on kind of what you're feeling and depending on like what your show is catering to.
Yeah.
So that's my long-winded answer. But Claire, like I'm sure you
Yeah.
have,
Mhm.
I want to hear kind of your process.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is just what I'm listening to, and I try to switch it up every week, but sometimes there's just a song is so good it needs to be played
Mm-hmm.
4 weeks in a row.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of the times I'll just pick a genre and go through that, and what I really like about it is that it's low stakes and it really helps me
Yeah.
discover new music. That's one thing I love about KXSU is that
Me
it actually
too.
forces me to go out of my comfort zone and
Mhm.
like look for new music. And I think that's
Yeah.
something I didn't do before I was a DJ.
Yeah,
And-
it's super cool to see like what everybody brings in.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Mhm.
really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always wondered. That's been something that's always been on my
Yeah.
mind. Is like, how are they picking things?
Oh yeah, and especially if you're at a commercial station where you play a
Mhm.
lot of the same songs, because the way radio's structured is, the average listener listens to about 15 minutes of a station. So in those
Mm.
15 minutes, they need to know like what your station is about, like kind of the vibe of it, and like sonically what it's gonna be like, and a lot of people get kind of mad because they're like, you played this same song like 5 times today. And I'm like, well, I don't get to pick the music, but also you should only be listening, the average listener only listens to 15 minutes of radio, so we're kind of just going off of that. So I mean, I do feel bad for people that listen to radio all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be one of those, and I was just like, why do they always play this song all the time?
Yeah.
But there's a formula to it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yes. Cool. Well, we're in Seattle, and Seattle is very
Really?
well known.
This is what this place is?
What?
Yeah. No, this is actually, yeah. So, God, we got that covered. But Seattle is known for having a really unique music scene. So, are there any local Seattle bands or local music you want to highlight?
Yes. Oh my God, there's so many. Well, Lovely Colors is a really good band. We had them on. I wasn't there, but they were a part of the in-studio performance last year, and they did really amazing. So I really like them. There's this new band called Swavey that's coming out. Well, they've like released a couple songs, and it's very like G-funk, like super funk, like dancey music, which I love. Gosh, who else? I don't know. There's just so many great musicians. I would say, I mean, the Latin community here, their music's so good. There is an artist named Rio that releases a lot of really great reggaeton music and brings in a lot of influence of like old cumbia and, very old Spanish music that I think is just cool to see someone blend it. And I think reggaeton music is not as kind of noticed here. And I think they make a lot of really cool stuff. So probably those three.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you guys, can I ask questions?
Oh, 100%.
Do you guys have any like local musicians that you like?
I feel like I'm just starting to like dip my toes into the music scene
Yeah, there's
here.
so many.
And it's kind of intimidating. Like, I don't
It
know. I feel like
is.
I work at a radio station, and I'm just like so unaware of what's going on
For sure. There's
in
so
my
much
own
going on all the
community
time.
because it's so overwhelming. But
Yeah.
it's definitely something I'm looking forward to, and I think our in studios are a great are a great are a great chance for me to do that.
Yeah.
Because we get to put that together, so I'm kind of forced to go, which I went anyways last year, and they were fun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry that you're forced to go
I
now.
had a great time.
Fantastic. What about you, though?
So I'm not from Seattle or Washington, so I don't know a whole lot about the local music scene. So I don't even have an answer. I mean, yeah.
It's hard to find. Like, you can't go on Instagram and be like Seattle local music unless they use the hashtag. But
Yeah.
that's what our in studios are for.
Yeah,
If you ever
that's
check
true.
them out.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a plug,
Yeah. KXSU on YouTube. We have some great stuff there.
Awesome. Well, I think now's the time to move on to our next segment. So
Is it the time?
it's the time. So as you know, as we mentioned, the Grammys are right around the corner. And what better way to usher in the Grammys than to give our opinions on who's going to win and maybe who we think will win, even if we don't want them to win, right?
Right, yeah.
So we're going to do 3 categories. We're going to do Record of the Year, we're going to do Album of the Year, and we're going to do Song of the Year.
Oh, the
So,
hard-hitting ones.
The hard-hitting
yeah.
ones, the big 3, right? So
Yeah.
I'll just read out the nominees for each one, and then we'll talk about what we like, maybe if we don't like some or
Sweet.
anything, any feelings
So
we
we
got.
can talk about what we don't like, because
You
I
can talk
definitely know
about-
what I don't
Oh yeah,
like.
you can talk about what you don't like. You can go crazy.
Okay,
you know.
cool. Okay.
So for Record of the Year, which is the first category we're gonna do, it's Now and Then, The Beatles, Texas Hold'em, Beyonce, Ron Paper, Espresso, Sabrina Carpenter, 360, Charlie XCX, Birds of a Feather, Billie Eilish, Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar, Good Luck Babe, Chappell Roan, and Fortnite, Taylor Swift and Post Malone.
So I really don't want Taylor Swift to win.
Okay.
Just any of these categories. I'm sorry, Swifties.
You're trying to get us in trouble.
No, I
here.
know, and that's why I'm scared. I'm so scared.
But air out. What do you have to say? Let's hear it.
I mean, I like her. It's just we gotta let other people win stuff. She wins all the
Yeah.
time. It's
were
like
just talking about
predictable.
this.
Yeah, I think we were. And like, I mean, she's amazing, and I really respect Taylor Swift, and I love the Swifties. Please don't find me. Don't find me, because I really don't want to deal with your wrath. But I don't want her to win. Just the oldie music in me, and just how historic it could be if they won, I definitely would. It'd be cool to see the Beatles win for sure. Like, how crazy is that in 2025?
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. But who I think will win, well, I also really want, I love all these people. I really want Kendrick Lamar to win for sure. I definitely think that was like the song of the year.
For sure.
I think it's going to go to either Billie or Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Answer. Yeah. Because there's just like a couple, like, I mean, and also, I mean, Charlie XCX was so big too. But I feel like Sabrina Carpenter was a little bit more digestible to like the average listener too.
Okay.
So.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that I have an opinion on who I want to win, but I agree that I think Sabrina Carpenter will win.
Okay.
I think, yeah, that was I mean, Charlie XCX, Sabrina Carpenter, and Chapel Roan just kind of went crazy this year.
I
like,
know.
It was
it's
big,
really hard to choose, but if I had a pinpoint,
I think I like the word digestible. That's a.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What about you,
So,
Caleb?
okay. So just I'm talking to the camera because I need you all to know I don't know anything about like most of the music here, and so I listened to every single song and album because I wanted to do you guys justice and tell you who I think unbiasedly is the best and who I think will win.
Wait, you went through every album on that list?
I did. I didn't listen to every song on every album because some of them had like 30 songs. Like Taylor Swift's album had I think 30 songs, and I didn't have enough time. And then we'll talk about an album of the year. There was another one that was like 13-minute songs. I was like, I can't listen to everyone.
You're like, yeah.
I personally think that for me, who I think should win for record of the year is either Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, or 360 by Charlie XCX. And the reason that I say this is because I think both of these songs were very culture shifting, right? They were very big. They were more than music. And so I think for that extent, like they had very big impacts on our communities, you know, on people. I think that really resonated with people. But I also chose it because record of the year is about like the recording and the production. And I think that those two songs also do a really good job with that. I think that I was really impressed with the recording and production on those songs. So that's what I'll say. I think that those two deserve to win. I think watching recent trends that Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish will probably win though.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a really great response. I actually,
Thank
to
you.
be honest, I never knew the difference between record, song, and album.
I had to
like,
look it up because
so-
I didn't either.
Yeah, so when you said that, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I didn't even think of that. I think production quality for sure, Charlie XCX is...
It's cool. I really like that sound.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to album of the year. So we have New Blue Sun, Andre 3000, Cowboy Carter, Beyonce, Short and Sweet, Sabrina Carpenter, Brat, Charlie XCX. I don't know if it's Jess or DeJessie, but it's from Jacob Collier. It's DeJessie Volume 4. I hope I said that right.
I have never heard of that. Who was that by?
Jacob Collier.
I've never heard of that person.
This is like, I listened to all the songs before this because I was like
Really?
scared,
Oh, yeah.
but I didn't really listen to the albums.
Wait,
and
can you tell me how it goes?
How it?
Can you sing it for me?
I don't know. This is the album, so like there's
Oh.
not a song. Yeah.
Sing the entire album, Caleb.
Fine, all right.
You're good.
And then we have Hit Me Hard and Soft, Billie Eilish, Chapel Roan, The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess by Chapel Roan, and The Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift.
Well, I don't want her to win, but I think Taylor's going to win.
Okay.
Who I would want to win? Oh my gosh. Something about Chapel Roan.
Mm-hmm.
Her whole explosion this year was really cool to see because I think she really musically highlighted a community, like the LGBTQ community, and I think that was really cool. But she's just so insanely talented, like just vocally, like she does stuff that a lot of people can't do.
Yeah.
I would want her to win, but yeah, I think Taylor Swift's gonna take that home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to agree with you on everything, but you just say everything that I'm going to say before I say it. And I don't know. I remember the first time I saw Chapel Roan was like right before she got really popular because one of my friends went to see her in LA for like $30 and she kept bragging about it.
Oh my gosh, so
And
cool.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow. Because she just got so big so fast.
So fast. It's
So,
crazy.
I don't know. That was a really interesting take over to see.
It was
And
really cool. Same with Brat too.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
bratties.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's
All the
what you call them.
bratties.
I don't, the
Brat.
social circles that I run
Let's
in,
roll.
these were really popular, but I felt
Yeah.
really left out because I don't listen to stuff that's so like poppy. if
Yeah,
that's even,
you're just like you're not like everybody
I just work at the radio and I'm
else.
really
I'm
underground
so
and
different.
indie and like obscure. So, but I agree. I think Chapel Row in my heart should win, but I don't
Mhm.
think.
What about you, Caleb?
Okay, so for me,
Unbiased.
unbiased opinion, and number one, I also just want to point this out. One of our producers really likes Brat, and one of our producers really likes Chapel Roan, Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. So
They're
I
like,
feel a
I
lot of
guess.
pressure. I'm like, I don't know who gets to fire me for my answer, but one of them will, right? I'm gonna agree. I think that Chapel Roan's album is my personal favorite. I realized this when I was listening to it, and I was like, "There's not a single song on this that I would skip." You know,
Ooh,
and I
it's
think
one of
there were a
the
few
unskippable
songs on.
albums.
I think Brat as a concept is really good, and I think that it follows a really interesting theme. But I don't necessarily know if like not every song on there. There are a few that I would probably skip, right? And
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
most albums. But I think in terms of being polished, I'm gonna go with Chapel Roan. So you won't see me next week, but you know,
Dude, I can
just
feel
kidding.
their eyes looking at you, and
I
when
can-
you're
I'm
talking to me,
sweating,
you're like
yeah.
looking over
It's funny 'cause
there.
it's
I'm
just
like
their
nervous.
eyes.
Yeah.
Like, you
I'm
can't
nervous
see
for
my
you.
eyes.
All right, we have one last category, and that's
Sweet.
Song of the Year. So, and for the distinction, Song of the Year is about songwriting, which I learned. So it's a little
So
different than Record
cool.
of the Year. But we have A Bar Song Tipsy by Shabuzi. Then we have,
Stop.
it's kind of
That's
funny to
not
read out loud.
nominated, Is it?
It is
I
nominated.
had no idea what that was until
Birds
disgrace.
of a Feather, Billie Eilish. Die with a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. Fortnite, Taylor Swift and Post Malone. Good Luck Babe, Chapel Roan. Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar. Please Please Please, Sabrina Carpenter. And Texas Hold'em, Beyonce.
It's definitely a tie that I think will win. I hope Kendrick wins.
Mhm.
I love Sabrina Carpenter. I love her so much, and I love Please Please Please, and I felt like the month that came out, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it. Like, it was
Yeah.
crazy. So I think it's either going to be Sabrina or Kendrick for me. Yeah. But is Taylor on there?
Taylor is on there.
Well, okay.
But
then.
interesting, I'm pretty... I would like a fact check on this, but I'm not sure if Taylor Swift has actually won a Song of the Year. She's been nominated several times. I'm not sure. I might be completely wrong. It might have been a different award. So
Well, I think you're right. You've been pretty
I don't know.
You've done your research
I
really well.
hope I'm right. We can cut it out.
You
if I'm
want her to
wrong.
win?
Huh? No, I
No.
hope I'm right about my
Okay.
claim.
Okay. I mean, not that she
Oh, I
isn't
didn't say-
deserving.
yeah.
Stop, Swifties,
Yeah.
please. Put away your pitchforks.
What do you think, Claire?
I don't think A Bar Song Tipsy is gonna win.
God, I
That's-
really hope not.
That's what I do know. Well, I don't
Okay.
want it to win. But other than that, my heart is not pulling me in one direction. So,
Okay.
So you want One Direction to win?
well,
Yeah.
No.
that's
what
not
we-
really in
that's
the
what I
Doesn't
heard
make any
too.
sense. I'm
It's-
sorry. Really horribly displaced
It went
joke.
through my head as well.
Yeah.
For me, and I'll keep this short. I think. Actually, I don't even know. Honestly, this one to me, like I was listening, and I don't know much about songwriting, so I'll refrain as well because I'm not sure. But whoever wins, I think they'll hopefully deserve it. So
yeah.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
sweet message.
yeah, and we'll end it
I
on
love
that.
that.
So
Yes,
well,
I know we're getting.
thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today.
Mhm.
If you are not already following us on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube, you make sure you do that so you can get more content like this. There's a tradition we do at the end of every episode where we say, see
we
you
have to
next
wink?
time on Cherry. We don't have to wink. We don't talk about that. Where we say, see you next time on Cherry Street. So
Sweet.
I'm going to count us down and we're going to say that. And then that's our episode. All right?
Sweet.
3,
Okay.
2, 1.
See you next time on Cherry Street.